Is your retirement number actually the number you should be worrying about? Are you afraid you'll have too much life left at the end of your money, but not sure how to fix it? Do you ever look at calculators or projections and still feel just as uncertain as before? In today's video, you'll hear why that uncertainty isn't your fault and why the real answer has nothing to do with chasing a magic number. If you're wondering whether you have enough saved for retirement, you might find yourself questioning whether you're saving aggressively enough or worried that one wrong move could throw everything off. I'm sorry to tell you, you're asking the wrong questions. Here's why. Enough isn't a number you hit. It's a relationship between three things. And once you see what they are, the anxiety you've been carrying begins to loosen. Today, I'm going to show you the three elements that actually determine whether you're ready, including how to evaluate your needs, what numbers really matter, and how to align your plan with the realities of your life, your circumstances, and your dreams. And most importantly, I'm going to show you the one lever that can't be found in any calculator or spreadsheet, but determines more of your readiness than any dollar amount ever could. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly where you stand, why your real number is personal to you, and the simplest way to build a retirement strategy that feels grounded rather than guessworked. I'm Tanya Finks, not a financial advisor, just someone like you who's 5 to 10 years from retirement and determined to make the next chapter our strongest yet. After decades of coaching people through major life and career transitions, I'm bringing that experience here so we can approach retirement with clarity, confidence, and intention. Let's dive in. The mistake most people make in midlife isn't that they're behind. It's that they're trying to answer a deeply personal question using tools that were never meant to give them certainty. And if you've ever thought, why do I still feel uneasy even though I've run the numbers? That's not a personal failure. Once you see what's actually happening and how to evaluate your situation differently, the anxiety starts to loosen, not because you've magically solved everything, but because the picture finally makes sense. The real problem isn't that you're behind. It's that most retirement guidance focuses on answers, not understanding. When you don't understand how your situation fits together, everything feels unstable. One article tells you you're fine. Another tells you you're in trouble. A calculator says one thing. A friend's plan makes you second guess your own. So instead of feeling clearer over time, you feel less certain. That's not because you're doing something wrong. It's because you're being handed disconnected pieces without a way to make sense of them as a whole. The Employee Benefit Research Institute found that only 2 in 10 workers feel very confident they'll have enough money to live comfortably in retirement. That means 8 out of 10 people are carrying ongoing uncertainty, even while doing the right things. And that uncertainty has a cost. Research consistently shows that higher financial uncertainty is linked to higher psychological distress. And the American Psychological Association reports that 72% of Americans feel stressed about money at least some of the time. So if you feel uneasy, tense, or mentally stuck around retirement decisions, that's not a motivation issue. It's a clarity issue. And clarity, real clarity, changes everything. So where do people usually go looking for clarity? They go looking for rules, simple rules, clean numbers, guidelines that promise certainty. And on the surface, that makes sense. But this is where the confusion actually starts. You've probably heard the familiar advice. You'll need about 70 to 80% of your pre-retirement income to maintain your lifestyle. So if you make $100,000 now, you should plan for $70,000 to $80,000 in retirement. Or the 4% rule. Withdraw 4% of your savings in your first year of retirement, then adjust for inflation each year after that. If you have $1 million saved, that's $40,000 the first year, plus inflation going forward. And somewhere along the way, many people hear that they need at least $1 million or two to feel safe. Here's the important thing to understand. These guidelines aren't wrong, but they were never designed to answer your question. Even organizations like AARP are clear that the 80% guideline is only a starting point, and that real needs depend on lifestyle, health, flexibility, and income sources. The 4% rule came from research in the 1990s that tested worst-case market scenarios. It assumes a 30-year retirement, a specific stock-bond mix, relatively stable spending, and no meaningful adjustments along the way. That's a lot of assumptions. And here's what all of these rules have in common. They ignore your life, your values, your income mix, your flexibility, your tolerance for risk, your definition of enough. There is no universal number. There is only your number. And your number isn't a single target. It's a relationship between a few key elements that actually determine whether you feel secure or uncertain. Once you understand that relationship, something important happens. You stop chasing reassurance and start making grounded decisions. One of the 3 pieces we're about to talk about is the lever most people overlook, and it's the one that usually makes everything else start to work together. Enough isn't a single number you're trying to hit. It's a relationship between 3 things. Once you understand how these 3 pieces work together, retirement stops feeling like a guessing game and starts feeling understandable. The first piece is your lifestyle cost. This is what your real life in retirement actually costs. Not what a calculator assumes, not what the average retiree spends, what you spend and what you want to spend on housing, healthcare, food, transportation, and the things that give your life meaning: travel, hobbies, generosity, and time with people you love. This is why most one-size-fits-all advice falls apart. AARP actually starts here when they talk about retirement planning. Step 1 is understanding what retirement will cost based on your life. Lifestyle comes first. Then you match resources to it, not the other way around. The second piece is your income streams. This is where the money to support that lifestyle actually comes from. And here's what most people miss. It's not just your savings. In fact, this is often where you have more flexibility and influence than you realize. According to the Federal Reserve, Social Security remains the most common source of retirement income. But over 80% of retirees also have 1 or more additional income sources. Those might include Social Security, retirement accounts like a 401k or IRA, a pension if you're fortunate enough to have one, rental or asset-based income, and for many people, some form of what I call freedom work, income created by leveraging your experience, expertise, and earned skills in ways that fit your life. Most people fixate on the retirement savings account, but that's just one stream, not the whole picture. The third piece is your risk factors. These are the variables that can change the equation over time. Things like longevity risk, how long you might live, inflation, whether your money keeps its buying power, healthcare costs, especially unexpected ones, and market timing, or sequence of return risk, when poor market years happen early in retirement. You don't need to eliminate these risks. You just need to be aware of them and know what levers you can pull if something changes. One of the biggest practical risks in retirement is not thinking things through clearly. And one of the biggest philosophical risks is being afraid to imagine what you actually want. This stage of life is not the time to shrink your vision. It's the time to get honest about it, so your plan can support the life you actually want to live. Enough is when your lifestyle cost is supported by your income streams with clear awareness of your risk factors. It's not a magic number, it's a picture. And once you can see the picture, you finally know where you stand. Now, I know what some of you are thinking. This sounds good in theory, but things don't seem so straightforward. I'm carrying debt. I'm stretched now while I'm working. I don't see how I'd ever live on less than what I do today. And that's exactly why this framework matters, because it doesn't start from perfection. It starts from where you are. Once you see how this framework accounts for your real life, including debt, trade-offs, and imperfect starting points, the pressure eases. This isn't about getting everything right. It's about getting clear. Let me tell you where I am right now. I don't carry revolving debt as a rule, but recently I had some home repairs, the kind you can't put off and that cost real money. So right now I'm carrying some debt. That's not ideal, but it's also not a crisis. I'm using these pre-retirement years while I'm still working, while I'm actively designing my retirement to make sure I'm preparing for the life I actually want. When I ran my own framework, here's what became clear. First, I needed to spend some time thinking about my lifestyle in retirement. I'm a dreamer, and I needed to give myself permission to dream on purpose. Once I did that, my lifestyle costs became clearer. I know how I want to live, I know what matters to me and what doesn't. Second, my income streams are mapped. between Social Security, retirement accounts, and my entrepreneurial pursuits, what I call freedom work. I'm actively determining when I want to stop working full-time. And third, my risk factors are visible. Longevity matters deeply to me. I want to be healthy and independent as long as possible. And yes, this current debt is something I want resolved before retirement. What the framework showed me wasn't that I was behind. It showed me that I have levers I can pull. I can pay this debt down intentionally over the next few years. I can adjust my retirement timeline if I need to. I have flexibility. I can invest in freedom work now, so I have more choices later. And I can delay Social Security if that makes sense for my situation. The framework didn't judge me. It showed me where I stand and what I can adjust. That's the shift from am I okay to here's exactly where I am and here's what I can do about it. And that kind of clarity, it's calming, even when the picture isn't perfect. So where do you start? If this feels like a lot, that makes sense, especially if you're busy or tired or nearing retirement and feeling the weight of it, or far enough away that it feels easier to put off. But the first step is simpler than you think. And once you take it, you'll be glad you did. You don't need a financial degree for this. You start with just one thing, your lifestyle cost. Because once you understand what your life will actually cost, everything else starts to organize itself. Here's how to begin. Track your real spending for a month or two, or estimate using your bank statements and your best judgment. This is not about precision. It's about visibility. Then sort that spending into 3 categories: must-haves, housing, healthcare, food, transportation, etc. Nice to haves, travel, hobbies, dining out. Extras, the things you could adjust if needed. Then ask yourself, what does my ideal retirement lifestyle actually look like? Not someone else's, not the version you think you should want. Do you imagine travel or staying close to home? Remaining in your house or downsizing or relocating? Do you value flexibility, stability, simplicity, or adventure? This step isn't about locking anything in. It's about seeing the picture clearly. Once you have that picture, you can start mapping income streams against it. And suddenly, enough stops being vague and intimidating and becomes something you can actually see. To make this easier, I created a simple tool called your Retirement Lifestyle Snapshot. It walks you through this process step by step without overwhelm. It helps you turn a vague sense of, I should probably think about this, into a clear picture you can actually work with. You can find it linked in the description. And if you're worried about what you might discover, that's normal. But this is why this window matters so much. Right now, especially between ages 50 and 65, you still have time, flexibility, and options. Clarity creates leverage later, and that's what we'll talk about next. Here's the truth. Ages 50 to 65 are the last best window to shape your retirement. You still have time to adjust your savings rate, pay off debt, adjust your spending patterns, shift your retirement timeline, decide when to claim Social Security, and make intentional trade-offs that support the life you want. Small course corrections in these years can dramatically change your enough picture, but only if you know where you stand. So here's the place to start. Download your Retirement Lifestyle Snapshot and spend 20 to 30 minutes getting clear on what your retirement life actually costs, not in theory, but in reality. By the end, you won't have answers to everything, but you'll know what matters, what's flexible, and where your real leverage is. You don't need to solve everything today. Clarity comes before certainty, because the biggest mistake isn't being behind. It's not knowing where you stand. And now you know how to figure that out. If you have questions about your specific situation, drop them in the comments. I read every one, and your questions help shape what we cover next. And if your finances feel clearer, but you're more concerned about how your health will hold up long term, the next video walks through the one metric that best predicts how long you'll stay independent. I'll see you there. Thanks for watching. And remember, the best chapter of your life is the one you build now.